What is going on, family and members of the Renegade? We are back in the rabbit hole checking out more from Ren, and you guys have made it abundantly clear that you wanted to see the tales of Jenny and Screech, all three versions in one video. You made that abundantly clear that that was what you guys wanted to see next. There were so many of you that also gave me great directions of where to go outside of the tales of Jenny and Screech, and I feel like we're going to probably go a little bit more away from the trilogy after we probably do this Tales of Jenny and Screech. I'm pretty excited today because we're going to be combining three different videos into one overall concept that took place, I believe, from 3 years apart, I think, if I remember correctly, from the first two drops and then the last final piece of it. We are probably going to have a lot to talk about today, so let's go ahead and get into Jenny's tale.
It was a quiet, dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny walked alone, she was dragging her feet. She was heading back home to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, because she walked it about 1,000 times before she wanted to escape. Can you blame? Well, on the very same night, in a different place, there walked this hooded young youth by the name of James. He was 14 years old and out of his brain. He'd been smoking ganja with the boys. James, he grew up to be a kid of the street. His mates called him Screech. He was quick on his feet. He was a liar, a thief. At 14 years old, the devil had set his sights on his soul. As Jenny walked home all alone, she felt scared. Usually she was alright, but it was like there was something in the air. A divine intervention telling her to beware. Maybe intuition bugging her and making her so scared. Sirens sound in the distance at the beat of Jenny's feet. A symphony of the night that echoes crime on London streets. Jenny turns a corner, their eyes they meet. Our poor girl Jenny, a boy named Screech. Give me all your money, bitch, give it to me. If you cooperate, then you'll soon be free. I want your purse, your phone, don't fucking look at me. I mean it, bitch, are you listening to me? Jenny freezes statue like a lady shakes stalactite. Feel like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. She tried to find strength to move, but stayed as still as a statue in high-heeled shoes. What the hell you playing at? You playing games with me? I swear to fucking God, I'll slice the rosy off your cheeks. You think I don't mean it, girl? You don't know me. The last thing you see will be a boy code. Screech reached with the sheath of the blade, with the teeth that could bite through steel and slice concrete, and he swung possessed with the devil in his chest, and the statue she was turned to butter in her breath. It was a quiet, dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny lay still on the cold concrete. She's found somewhere to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, 'cause she'd walked it about 1,000 times before. I guess that she escaped. It's such a shame.
Wow, and it's like, and just like that, it's already over. That was like the fastest 3 minutes of my life. He is truly remarkable in the way that he is able to encapsulate the way that he is providing this message. And the fact that he has done this entire thing in one take is incredible. Throughout the entire song, I have those feelings of those goosebumps that you feel where he just kind of gives you that raw emotion throughout every time that he has these songs. There's just somewhere in these random spots throughout these entire records where it makes you feel stuff, and no matter what he's talking about. That part at the beginning when he's kind of finding the melody, right? Where it's kind of showing the idea of when you're figuring out those melodies in your head and you're kind of working through it, and he's doing the little trumpet with his mouth. I thought that was a very interesting way to kind of introduce the song, especially with my first take being high Ren with the way he does the little woo-hoo-hoo-hoos in that song. Like he does something similar on this one, but he does it like with the whole like trumpet with the mouth thing. And like I said, at first it was a little shocking in a way that I felt like it was an interesting choice. But like as it continued, I got those little goosebumps where I was like, that's why he put it in here, because I'm like, there's something about it that makes you feel it. Overall, I thought this song was incredibly intriguing, like really diving into like a tale and a story of like a young woman, like basically traveling like through like familiar territory. Like, and that's one of those things they say that like the worst things happen when like you least expect them. And I think that's kind of like the overall shock factor of this story. Like crime and those kinds of like random one-off things could really happen at any moment in time. There's like, you could take every precaution and every little thing that you could possibly do, and it could still possibly happen to you. Obviously, you want to be as safe and you want to look out for yourself and take as much care of yourself as you can. But it's one of those things that, like, when tragedy sometimes happens upon people, they did take those necessary steps and it still found them anyway. He made a reference in the song where this was a place that happened where this was like a million times before, and how sometimes in the middle of panic and fear, things can escalate really quickly and bad things can happen, even though like I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. Like maybe this was one of those things where like you never know but all sides of the circumstances of how things got to a certain point. The way he delivers the story of telling you like how these paths intercross, like how across town with a different circumstance and a different story, we have a boy named Screech over here who's young, who's impressionable, and obviously is around the wrong influences, is now influenced by a life of crime. Somebody gets in your face, you don't know what to do, you freeze, things escalate out of hands really quickly, and all of a sudden, like, mistakes are made and now you can never go back. Let's find out what happens next. I know I'm going to miss a million things that I want to talk about from these videos. Like I said, I feel like there's always a million things that there's always like two things that really stick out in my mind every time I watch back and release a video where I'm like, man, I had that thought and I didn't even talk about it. But this is one of those times where I'm going to stop myself and I'm going to point out the fact that I love the fact that he plays like Spanish guitar and like intros these records. He did it on the Jenny version. He's giving us like a little different version and a different little twist here on the Screech version. So I just wanted to point out the fact that I really appreciate that little like ode to like Spanish guitar and the way he kind of like switches it up with like an intro this way, and then he kind of takes you into the story. Every time.
Our story, it starts right at the end. At the life of poor Jenny, clocked out like Big Ben. Dear Screech, dear boy, where did he go? He melted into the black night just like snow. Patrick, man, let me in, please open the door. I think I fucked up, Patrick, really fucked up, man, I'm not sure. I got crazy, left this lady lying still on the floor. I think I killed her, Patrick, come on, man, I can't knock no more. But Screech kept on knocking till his knuckles became sore. But there's no sign of Patrick down at number 54. No refuge for our villain, for the bitter hands of fate, with something far more sinister in mind that does away.
All right, we're going to stop right here because I have some thoughts already. I believe you guys when you say that he takes every single little thing into consideration when he makes these videos. Him wearing that old school Cowboys, like American Dallas Cowboys jacket, like from like the 90s type, like coat in this video. I don't know what I feel like I'm going to be speaking on something that I don't know anything about, but I feel like that has something to do with like street life culture, especially amongst the youth when it comes to London maybe in the past 20 something years. The places that he chose to shoot these videos, I feel like were like the perfect locations to tell these stories. It makes it feel like I don't know if these are actual real like if this is an actual real story or not, but it make this the way he delivers this makes it feel like everything apart what he is telling you is like 100% factual. And whether it's an actual real story or not, it makes you honestly think about just how many circumstances that this kind of stuff and these kind of stories happen literally every day. In the blink of an eye, everything can change. I feel like this intro part of the song when he's out here seeking refuge and he can't find it, right? I feel like that's like the cosmic like karma universe, right? Whatever you kind of believe in that, like you put out good energy into the world and good energy will find you. You put out bad energy and bad energy will come back and find you. I feel like that's what this is representing, right? When something bad happens, when you have done something that is now you can't come back from it, you're not going to be able to find that refuge and that peace and that safe place because you have created some dark space and energy into the world. You have been the result of why that started. So there's not really going to be refuge for you. That's why you're in this panic. And that's why no matter which person's door you bang on, for whatever reason, the cosmic universe is basically going to push you away where it's like, now's not the time. Whatever other circumstances is going to block you from being able to actually find that refuge in these terrible dark times. It's like immediately paying for your sins, even though you think that you've kind of gotten away with it.
Hey, babe, are you in? No, nothing really. I'm just a bit tired. Listen, can I swing around yours for a few moments? I just really miss you, babe. What the fuck do you mean you're busy? You fucking bitch! For fuck's sakes!
Can't find it.
Siren sounds approaching like a banshee in the night. The shrill cry of justice cutting like the sharpest knife. But Screech was never one to run, not one to miss a fight. One hand upon his blade, he turned to face the blue lights. Come on then, you fucking cunts, let's fucking have you then. I am Screech, I'm the boss, I'm the ender of men. You think that uniform you're wearing means that you own these streets? These are my fucking streets, and they call me fucking Screech. Richard was an officer who stood at 6'3", working London on the night shift. What he didn't think he'd see was a boy running at him like an animal possessed. With no time to hesitate, he fired 4 bullets at Screech's chest.
Woo. Oh boy.
Our story, it ends right at the start. Young Screech and poor Jenny lying one street apart. An officer shaken by the boy that he claimed. 2 bodies lay lifeless, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame.
Again. Like goosebumps, like the entire record. That part out there at the end with the 4 shots. Oh my God. I don't even have to say it because I feel like you guys are just going to let me know that it's just like a every time. I've said it once, I'll say it again, and I'll probably say it a million more times about the artist Ren, that he is one of the most incredibly artistic and talented people that I think I have seen probably in my entire life. Every single thing that I have heard is incredibly thought-provoking, and it just makes it just challenge you to like think about things. Listening to this version just really makes me think of like how sad it is that like there's just so many young boys and young men out there that have just been given so much societal pressure to be tough and to be these gangsters and to have like this machismo to stand up and not give a fuck and stand and laugh in the face of danger. Ha 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 ha! If you got that reference, you're awesome. Ren said this overall tale is just a shame because you just when you get a little bit older and you realize like all that anger and that animosity that you feel, especially like in your younger years. Like, we're supposed to be talking about a 14-year-old kid here and the pressures of what it's like to try to live a life on the street and survive at the same time of like going through like the toughest times of your life when you don't even understand what is happening within your own body. And again, boys have been pressured by fathers and just male figures in just society for so many generations to, like I said, have that machismo and stand up and not give a fuck and take care of yourself and do these things. And it causes you to probably sometimes go down these wrong paths. And that's why you see a lot more boys get involved with gang life than you ever really see females, because it's not really the same kind of mentality. If there's a song out there about a 14-year-old girl sticking people up and killing some guy out there, please be sure to let me know, because I just don't feel like that's very common. But unfortunately, tales like this one are all too common. And like I said, happen almost every single day, if not every single day, in somewhere in our world. And it's just a sad reality. And it's one of those things that, especially for the life of a woman out there, where you have to live kind of in a constant state of fear, especially if you are alone, like where you can't even really walk the streets of London late at night and feel safe and feel comfortable, no matter how many times and how familiar you are with those roads. I told you guys this was going to be a long one, so let's go ahead and check out Violets.
London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. Rhythmic beats and bloodstains, she saw a lady weep. She's tired and frail. To set the scene, we must rewind the hands of time for Violet's tale.
Rewind. Every time, man. Fire.
Violet was a silent girl, grew up with violent starts. Her mother was a drinker and her father was...
Oh my God, I'm already getting the goosebumps and the chills just watching him walk down the empty hospital room. Like, an empty white room, bro. Oh my God, like, how does he do this? Every little nuance of his videos draws emotion out of you. How is he not like the biggest artist in the world? I'll tell you why. It's because people don't want to hear about the truth.
Her mother was a drinker and her father was a bastard. Every night he took a tie but never left the room. I'll spare you with the things he did, I'm sure her mother knew. Violet was a silent girl, she moved out at 16. A semi-detached council flat, paid for by a welfare scheme. Packing shelves at Tesco, stacking jars like pickled bricks. She met a boy named Stevie and he was a little prick. Violet was a silent girl and Violet, she fell fast. See, Stevie was the wrong un, but he sure knew how to charm her. Every night he took her tight, but never left the room. History repeats itself, he'd paint her black and blue and dark. She never stood a chance. The devil comes to dance. Violet, why are you always so quiet? On her bedroom door and he's irate. He's been drinking and smoking, he's up late. And he stands by her bedside, she shakes, but her eyes stay shut. You fucking slut, I know you're up. And he pinches her eyelids and folds them up. Violet, why are you lying to me, Violet? She stays silent, things turn violent. That's the sound of his fists when they fall like a crashing pilot. Hit like hailstones, one to the collarbone, full force, full blown, blood splat, bone crack, knick knack, paddywhack, one to the jaw and the tooth spat, detached fist connects and disconnects a bone. A quick deflect to misdirect the blow, but nonetheless his punches met her throat. Such a mess he's left her bruised and broke. Violet, why you always so silent, Violet? Why you such a little liar, Violet? Do you think I want to do this, Violet? In character, she stays silent. Well, say something, Violet. Silence. Fucking say something, Violet. Silence. Wait. Say something, Violet.
Killed her. He killed her. I know it.
Not one word. She stays quiet.
Ren. Why are you the only one to challenge? Why are you the only one to challenge and push out these ideas? I just knew where he was going with this, like as soon as he busted in that door and he talked about flipping her eyelids up. I knew where this was gonna go. And like I said, I feel like you guys have already told me that some of these songs are based in reality and some of them are just based in just the ideas of just art and getting awareness. I think a lot of out there just about these subjects. We're getting into, we've talked about multiple different social problems throughout this entire video. The life that women have to face in general in life, the life that men face, and like they get pushed into crime in some circumstances, and what it's like to live on the streets and be relying on yourself without a lot of people really looking out for you that way. And now we're getting into domestic abuse. And once again, I don't feel like art is never supposed to have any kind of boundaries. We're supposed to be able to explore these kinds of stories and these kinds of thought pieces, because I think that it's good to bring awareness to these subjects, because there's so many people out there that are suffering essentially in silence because they are afraid of just the circumstances that they might be in. They think that there might be ways that there's no way for them to get out of these situations. It's really terrible, and it happens to way more people than you actually would think that it does. If anything, I feel like this is kind of an example of what the life of Screech would have been like if he didn't have his tragic end. This is kind of what it turns into when you get older. Not in every case. Some people do turn their lives around and get outside of those kinds of things, but in a lot of circumstances, this is like the natural progression of what happens when you kind of get into those lifestyles and you continue to live those lives. Your aggression is never going to actually be fixed by growing up on the streets. If anything, your aggression is going to get worse.
London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. The doctor, in a state of shock, saw something here so very wrong. See, Violet, she was pregnant. Poor Violet, She was 9 months gone. Turning to the doctor, Violet broke her silence and she cried, if I'm to die right here tonight, please let my baby stay alive. The doctor soon regained composure, called the surgeon to come in. As Violet's world turned to black, the curtains closed, the lights went dim. In London City, far from pretty, 2005, a lady down in Paddington just lost the fight to stay alive. A tragedy or a miracle, it happened on these very streets. Two twins aligned side by side. A girl named Jenny and a boy named Screech.
You know, sometimes like when you watch a movie and when you feel like they're about to make the big reveal, and and it finally clicks, like those couple of seconds right before they're about to give you that reveal. I was sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, I wonder if the baby that she's pregnant with is Screech. And sure enough, not only was it Screech, but he killed his sister, Jenny. Wow. I'm not sure what else I could say about this overall thing, guys, that I haven't already touched on in this video. The fact that he does the one takes in each video is tremendous. It adds so much more depth and just so much more just overall like respect and quality for like the work and the art that he creates. The fact that like the amount of times that he probably shot this and he told himself like it's not good enough. That part I messed up. This part I didn't do my face right. This part I didn't hit the note the way I wanted to. The attention to detail to the craft, I feel like, is at a level that is beyond what I think I may be able really be able to comprehend, but I am able to respect it um absolutely so much. He is unlike anything that I have really ever seen. I feel like there is a lot of unique and just tremendous talents out there in the world, but Ren, I feel, really kind of takes the cake for something that I've never seen before. There's also something very magical about the fact that he is so relatable to so many people, and I think that's one of the things that makes his fan base and the Renegades so unique, is the fact that it does feel a lot more like a real community than I think a lot of other fan bases do. Somebody made a comment about how long they thought it was going to be before I started calling myself a renegade. And I will say here in front of everybody that I feel like it's one of those things that I'm a firm believer in, that the community has to accept you as one of their own. And until that day, I would not really consider myself to be a part of the Renegade, even though I am becoming very quickly a very huge fan of Ren. And someone made a comment about how he probably would end up on my wall one day. And I know it's a little early to say, but I think that that is 1000% probably a very high possibility. I am a huge, huge fan of live music, and I understand that he is not able to really perform and travel that way. But that does not change how I feel about Ren at all. If he is able to do live shows in the future, and there's a chance that some of us will be able to go to see some of those things, I would definitely would love to be able to do that. But I'm not getting my hopes up, because I obviously understand there's a lot more things going on when it comes to his overall personal health that is going to kind of make some difficulties when it comes to those kinds of lifestyles. So at the end of the day, all I can try to do is try to support what he is doing and continue to love this music and try to get as many people onto this as I can. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I know it was a really long video, and I hope that you guys appreciated it and actually enjoyed it. And if you haven't joined the Foxtrot family, there is always room for you. Until next time, I appreciate you for watching.